they want to do, thinking about their calling, or engaging with the rites of passage and investigation the world feels designed for. Now, you might think this was intentionally weeded out of culture, or maybe it was just overlooked in overzealous capitalist pursuits. But for the individual to find true meaning and fulfillment, it is a journey worth taking. And as I've tried on several philosophical hats, the most interesting ones I've found are cultivated from a deep observation of nature or handed down from almost mythical figures of the deep past. Well, the rabbit hole that is the art and science of alchemy kind of ends up meeting both of those criteria, and today's very learned guest, Brian Cote-Noir, is here to talk about it. Brian himself is an alchemist, artist, and award-winning filmmaker. He was a contributor to Frater Albertus's Para Alchemy and has presented workshops and seminars around the world on various aspects of alchemical theory and practice. He is the author of Practical Alchemy, Alchemy, the Poetry of Matter, and translator of the Emerald Tablet. His work can be found at kepripress.com, and it's a real pleasure to have him here, so let's do the damn thing. The alchemical authority and thrice great guide to the great work, Brian Cote-Noir, welcome to the higher side.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Greg. It's good to be here. I don't know about thrice great, but I'll just go with okay. Once okay.
Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yes, this is going to be a lot of fun. Alchemists and magic practitioners are some of my favorite guests. These folks who have just had this deep understanding of the natural world and the structure of reality, along with the engagement of strange mechanisms that are eternally baked into the reality cake, but so few people today even acknowledge. It's just really interesting stuff to specialize in today's world, and it seems like no matter how deep you go, there's always more to learn. Do you think that's fair to say?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, that's just the nature of life in general. There's always more to learn. There's always more to kind of dig into, go another layer down, and whatever it is you do, right?
Yes. Yeah, which makes the irony of so many people not really going beyond the surface level that much more ironic. But your bio says you've been studying alchemy for over 45 years, and I just have so much respect for that. Why did this grab you like it did? What do you find so special about it with all the other things in the world a person could dedicate themselves to?
It's an unhealthy obsession. It's it started actually very young, and it was just an absolute curiosity about things. The thing with alchemy, as anybody who's ever done any little bit of reading on it beyond the works of Carl Jung, is that you start to realize that as a study, it encompasses the processes of creation. And so right there, it touches on everything. It just can't help not to touch on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things that really drew me to it as a kid, actually. I mean, I think as children, we're all very naturally curious, natural scientists in a way. And that was part of it for me. I was actually, as a kid, very interested in the sciences. Did a lot of, just as kids do, science kid stuff, right? At the same time, I really liked art, drawing, things like this, and had a certain degree of ability with it, as did the rest of my family. Actually had very good ability in this. So I was always interested in the two. And it was one day I had gotten my adult library card as a lot earlier, and was just I used to go roam the stacks in the local public library, and I came across this book on alchemy. And to be very honest, as I always say, it really irritated me. And when I think back on it, I think part of that irritation is that it was about both things. It was about kind of art, and then at the same time, it seemed to be science. And then they had these incredible images. And out of irritation, I kept going back to it, and then just kept going back to it. And then I was kind of hooked. So there's a bookstore in New York City, or at the time anyway, called Weisser's Bookstores, and it's the oldest in the US, oldest occult bookstore. It closed recently, but it's online, and actually they published my book, the book we're talking about, Practical Alchemy. And I went there for the first time at about 15, 16 and saw the writings of Paracelsus. And I just thought, okay, This is the real deal. Things I was reading were more histories, and it was interesting, but I wanted to read an alchemist. And I picked a hell of a place to start. So I finally earned enough money, scrounged enough money over the next few years, and put my $35 down and got the 2 volumes. And it's like reading concrete. But I kept at it and then just got really interested. And then started to attempt to do some replication of some experiments. And then in 76, I was in 74, 75, I was working at Weisser's bookstore. How could I not? And Frate Albertus published his work, The Alchemist's Handbook, and that was published in 76. So I had seen, like working at Weisser's, sort of the galley proofs of that, photocopied it quietly and snuck it out.
Mhm.
And that's a very important work. This is a work that really pretty much, I would say there was a trend, there was a small circle, both in the US, mostly in Europe, that was practicing and doing actual plant and mineral and metal work. But this was the book that really gave it the impetus. Frate Albertus's Alchemist's Handbook.
Mhm.
And it's all about practice.